on my own behalf and that of the committee for your appointment to the same docket by a different administration. Therefore, that is not not a mean task. I would like to just take 1 minute to read to the members and for your attention that we had an advisory regarding your revetting. Honorable members, as you are aware of, the governor forwarded nominees as per Article 179(2)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 to the Assembly for consideration. Accordingly, the honorable members, His Excellency the Governor, reappointed this particular Cecm nominee who had served in the previous administration in the same capacity to the same Department of Health Services. Honorable members, I wish to draw to your attention regarding an advisory opinion to the County Assembly of Nyeri Speaker dated March 2017 from the Attorney General regarding the revetting of County Executive Committee members by the county assemblies. In his opinion, the Attorney General argued that an officer who had served in the previous administration is deemed to have been vetted and enjoyed the confidence of the county administration. Honorable members, Article 179(2)(b) of the Constitution, as read together with Section 32(d) of the County Government Act, requiring the county governors to appoint members of the county executive committees with the approval of the county assemblies, the people's power is maintained as is the case in public appointment. And since Section 2 of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approval Act defines appointment to include reappointment to the same body, whether or not in the same capacity, honorable members, the County Assembly draws the powers to revet nominees under Article 196(1)(b) of the Constitution of each County Assembly has to facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of the Assembly and its committee. Honorable members, the County Assembly on the 7th of October 2022 placed an advert on the dailies requesting the members of the public to submit a written statement on oath to the office of the clerk of the County Assembly with evidence contesting the suitability of the nominees to hold office. Honorable members, the committee hasn't received any statement contesting the suitability of the nominee to the office that he has been nominated for. Honorable members, the Attorney General in the letter to the Speaker of Nyeri County Assembly said, I quote, "In these circumstances, the question of vetting of the suitability of such a member retained does not arise, and the mere fact of retention is a strong presumption of continued confidence of the new county administration. Honorable members, going forward, I wish to guide and advise the committee to vet the nominee reasonably within the ambit of the criteria set out in the second schedule of the Public Appointment County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, and should not be on the basis of a pretext for a question or seek an expression of an opinion on his previous undertakings. Accordingly, the committee stands guided. Mr. Ahmed Nadir Omar Sheikh, this committee on appointment, which was established pursuant to Standing Order 185-1 as amended, and draws its mandate from the Standing Order 185-4 of the County Assembly. The mandate of this committee is to vet you for the position to which you have been nominated. A notice was placed inviting members of the public to submit memorandum on your suitability. However, none has been received so far. The procedure used to arrive at you, secondly, will be the constitutional and statutory requirements relating to the office in question. Thirdly, will be your suitability for the appointment proposed in regard to your ability, your experience, and qualities, if they meet the needs of the qualities for the body which nomination is being made. At this point, I also take the opportunity to introduce the members of this very important committee. The committee is chaired by myself, the Speaker of the County Assembly, who in this sitting is the chair of the committee, who will be addressed as the chair. The members of the committee include Honorable Hajir Muhammad Dahir, who is a member, also an elected member from Abakaile. Honorable Abdurrahman Ali, elected from Sankuri, who also doubles as the Deputy Majority Leader. Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, right? I said so. Honorable Hassan Dahir Noor, who is elected from Baraki, and he doubles as the Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Fatuma Shide, who is the Minority Chief Whip, who is also nominated. Honorable Abo Muhammad Abdi Farah, elected from Dadaab, a ranking member who had the opportunity to be elected 3 times to the House. Honorable Mustaf Abdul Rashid Ahmed, who's elected twice, not consecutively, but twice to the House, elected from Iftin this time, who is also the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Adaw Omar, who is elected from Hulugo, a ranking member, had the opportunity to be elected, the honor to be elected twice to the House. Honorable Zamzam Muhammad, a nominated member. Honorable Fardosa Jelle, nominated member. Honorable Muhammad Hussein Dakane, who is in the House, who's honored to be in the House twice, this time elected from Township. Honorable Abu Bakr Muhammad Khalif, the Majority Leader, elected from Galbet. Honorable Fatuma Adan, nominated. Honorable Timira Bishar, nominated. Honorable Omar Abdi, elected from Damajale. Honorable Abdi Hakim Hared from Burra, elected member. And then we have a co-opted member, Honorable Ahmed Abdurrahman from Liboy. With us are also the table, that's the clerk and the committee clerk. We also have the secretariat at the back. We have the members of the press. We also have other Kenyans who have taken their time to be with us, either in the public gallery or virtually following us on this event. At this juncture, I would like once again to welcome you. Please feel at ease, and we will be interacting with you within the guidelines I have provided. I would like to give you this opportunity to introduce yourself within your qualifications, their relevance to the docket you hold, your work experience within the same ambit, that is within relevance to the docket you hold. Go ahead.
Bismillah. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I take this opportunity to congratulate all of you for making it to this House, either through election or nomination, or for some members even renomination, and for those members who are actually re-elected. It's not actually a mean feat to be elected, and for some even honorable members who are actually previously nominated even to be elected, congratulate you. And then I also would like to specifically congratulate the Speaker for being elected as the Speaker of this House, and the Deputy Speaker, and all the leadership of the House for actually making it. And it's good that this time around at least there is a gender representation in the leadership of the House. We're setting a precedence that probably has not been there in the northern part of Kenya. And this is something actually that will make us so proud of the County Assembly. I will take this opportunity also to thank His Excellency the Governor for giving me an opportunity once again. It's actually a challenge and a bar that has been set higher for me, because it's not something that I actually take for granted. Considering the fact that in the 2013 elections, I was a running mate for his main opponent. And, you know, considering that political history, considering the fact that I served another administration, and, you know, considering the high voltage political period that we've been through and all that, it is actually an honor that I take and a challenge that I take, and something that I will really look forward if this honorable House and the honorable committees deems it fit to approve me to serve the people of Garissa once again and to prove him right. He's shown a confidence in me, and I really want to prove him right. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I'm sorry about that. Honorable Chair, as you well all know, my name is Ahmed Nadir Omar Sheikh. I'm actually currently the County Executive Committee member for Education, Labor Relations, and ICT. This County Government of Garissa. I've been serving in this position at that docket since January 2021. But previously, I had served for 3 years or thereabout in the Department of Health. Then we called it Health and Sanitation. But under the new administration, it just remains Health. I have served in that department from the 30th October 2017, when I was actually sworn into office, to end of 2020. That is until the beginning of January, rather, in 2021. I've served as the County Executive Committee member for Health and Sanitation Services then. Previously, before that, as I had told this same House before, and it is there in the records, that I've been in various businesses in the ICT sector, which is actually my main area of study, and also in the petroleum sector, which I had actually gone into as an entrepreneur. And before then, I'm going in reverse order. I had a brief stint when I've shown interest in politics, and this is a matter that's actually very much in the public domain. So I'll leave that for my introduction, and quickly take you through why I believe that I'm suitable for this position. The fact that we do all well understand that the current governor of Garissa, Honorable His Excellency Nadif Jama Aden, is praised for having had a soft spot for the development of health and understanding of health, and had taken health during his reign to higher ranks and was celebrated. The fact that he had actually settled on me actually shows that the suitability is beyond question. Of course, we do understand that there are other factors that are normally that are normally considered in the appointments. But the main fact actually is the competence and the suitability of the person. But having said that, I have served in the Department of Health. And it is one department that I actually take pride in the achievements and the progresses that have been made. The fact that we deal, the health department deals with human life, and one human life lost normally will erase all the achievements and all the gains that have been made. May depict this department or this service sector in a very bad light, which is actually fair. One person who became sick, or one person who's been denied service, or one person who does not receive the services that he comes for any facility is actually one person too many. The bar is way too high. You save 1,000 lives, but one life is lost, and that department ends up doing nothing. The 1,000 lives, yes, it was within their rights to be solved. There is nothing extraordinary that has been done. But the one life lost, actually, there is a lot that has not been done. And that is why sometimes there could be negative coverage all over. But it's one department that the service that I have given, the leadership that I have shown and learned and experienced, I look back at it and actually take pride in that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I will, at this point, pass on the baton to the next member of the committee to interact with you, and that is Honorable Mustafa Abdul Rashid Ahmed. Please. Wait for the member to ask the question. Please, Sergeant at Arms, did you confirm that the members' original documents are in circulation? Including the statutory documents. Okay, let him sort out. Let him sort out. Give him time, please. Let him sort out. Please take your time. Ensure that you submit the right documents. Mustafa, please proceed. Sorry for that delay.
Thank you, Chair. Ahmed, congratulations on your nomination. I'm sure you're conversant with your role because you've held it before. Can you please take us through the duties that you'll be performing in this position, please?
Thank you very much, Honorable Mustafa, and thanks for congratulating me. The duties that I'll be performing here and that I have been performing and that I'm performing right now as I'm actually talking to you is actually being the leader. Actually, I'm the leader of that. I'll be the leader rather of the Department of Health, where within the specifics of the health department, I will be the chair of the county health management team, which is the highest organ and the supreme organ of the health team that actually, Honorable Chair, guides and sets the policies and the guidelines of this department. But more importantly is the fact that we know health is one of the fully devolved departments, and that the national, other than the policies, and the policies are devolved at the national level. The implementation of these policies and the legislations that are there are supposed to be implemented under my guidance, under my leadership, and that is within my responsibilities. The other responsibility actually that I have is the development of bills and policies, which is I'm very much conversant with. I've actually seen to the development of one bill, which at this point, because the matter that has been mentioned, I will really be actually two bills in the Department of Health, which currently are in this house, and that is the Facility Improvement Fund Bill and the Community Health Volunteers Bill. They are at different stages, I think probably at the committee stage here, and I will really plead for the sake of the service delivery and improvement of service delivery, these bills to be fast-tracked. So that's also actually within my responsibilities and the functions that are outlined clearly in the County Government Act and also in the Constitution of Kenya, and any other assignments that are not outside the Constitution, which I may be assigned by the Governor from time to time. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Ahmed Nadir. Honorable Abdul Hakim Haret, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ahmed Nadir, congratulations for your appointed CSC Health. Please tell the committee at least three main challenges the sector, the one you are appointed, the one you are nominated for faces, and how you intend to address given the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Haret. Honorable Chair, as I answer this question, probably I will request a few questions to be combined so that I'll answer them at one go. It will be easier for the members and also easier for all of us. Maybe I see.
Okay, okay. Request granted. Honorable Mohammed Dahia, proceed.
Let me take this opportunity to congratulate you for your nomination, Ahmed Nadir. My question goes, if given an opportunity to serve in this health docket, please tell this honorable committee any legislative proposals, i.e. bills and policies you'll be introducing in the health sector and how you intend to work with the Assembly in that process.
Honorable Ado, there's that question which is tweaked, right?
Thank you, Chair. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. The Speaker, on a light note, should I declare interest because I share a schooling experience with this nominee and also a debating club during our time.
I think if that will have warranted conflict of interest, then I think none of us will have been here, because we either come from the same village or we played or we're in the same school. Some of us taught some of the nominees, so I think that is a plus, not a conflict of interest. Go ahead.
Thank you. That is the experience we share with him. Honorable nominee, Honorable Abdi Ahmed Nadir Umar, thank you for your congratulations. And have you mentioned the bar has been set and a challenge has been posted to you for your renomination, I can say. And there has been a rampant strikes of health sector across the county affecting service delivery. And even this assembly is in receipt of several memorandums from workers' union. I think we would like us to give us the interventions that you will put in place so that such occurrences will never happen again, and issues to do with allowances, remunerations, and other services within the sector. Thank you.
Maybe you can speak to those three now.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for granting me my request. If I start with your permission, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chairman, sorry about that. I wish to start with the question asked by Honorable Haret on the challenges that the sector faces. Well, before I go into that, I would wish to just make something very clear. For the health sector to work very well, for the health sector to work efficiently, effectively, and for the service delivery to be at its optimum, there are health building blocks that we have actually to follow and implement to the latter. And these must be the areas of investment. And in health, they normally say that you must get the governance and the leadership right if you want to get all other building blocks right. You must have the right supportive governance and leadership. And this is not something I'm making up. This is something that is well documented. We can all find, these days we have Google and we can find this information. If you go to the WHO website, we can actually see this. And it's the WHO that sets actually the policies globally, and Kenya being a signatory, the same policies are adopted by the Minister of Health, and these are the same policies that we adopt up to the lowest level. So what are we told? That in those building blocks, you must get the leadership and the governance right. Now the biggest challenge would be when you do not have at your level, there are different levels of course, leaderships. And the leadership actually starts from the lowest level of the health facilities that we have. That is the community level. There's a leadership at that level. And then going up at the hospital level, the facilities, whether it is a level 3, a level 2, a level 4, and then the sub-county, coming all the way to the county, coming to myself, and then at most at the supreme, at the apex, we have the governor. If at all those levels, the leaderships are in a mess, then nothing would work. Now, starting from the lowest level, what I've actually seen then and that exists right now is, and we all know because some of us have actually worked in the civil service, is that any person who joins the civil service, any person who joins the public service is supposed to go through an induction program to understand how the civil service works and to be taken through a few things. The fact that someone is a nurse or is a doctor does not mean that he can just come and serve the public. What has been happening apparently from the start of the revolution is that people were employed and none has ever been taken through an induction program. Now you do not expect these people to show any kind of leadership, these people to understand how they are supposed to actually serve the public. And that actually becomes a very big problem. So these kind of leadership problems, crisis at the lowest levels, up to the highest levels at the county where they are, the leaders there, the managers there are supposed to be trained and have their capacities built and developed. It's actually a very big problem. It's actually a crisis. And that's why I'm telling you a main component of the health building blocks will be in crisis. Now going up, come to the level of this county executive committee member where I sat and I will be sitting. It will also be a crisis if at that level whatever the will that is there, whatever the passion that is there, whatever the commitment that is there, there would be no support, either from the cross sector, horizontally, or vertically, from the leader of the county at that given time. As I told you, health is about the leadership. So that's actually one challenge that could be there. There are numerous other challenges. The other challenges which are there are what we call the HRH, the human resource for health. There are challenges in terms of the resources. The other challenge, Honorable Chair, which I really want to bring to the attention of the House, because this is one of the areas that if you approve me, I want you to really work with me, is the issue of the resources that are there at the department. For instance, health is actually a revenue generator. And the revenue that is generated cannot be consumed at the source by law. And that is why we came up with, and I led in that process, up to the time that I was leaving the department, the Facility Improvement Fund, such that the funds that are collected at the facility, 30% of it remains at the facility. Because even the staff, the personnel who are collecting this fund, will not have the motivation if they feel like they are collecting this fund, the fund goes to the CRF, and it goes, becomes part of the county basket, I mean, no one will feel how this will actually help. So that's why I was actually asking, and I will plead with you again for this to be fast-tracked. So yes, there are challenges, but again, there is always the bright side, and yes, there are a lot of things that we should actually celebrate in the health services of Garissa. Going to the second question by Honorable Dahia, the legislative processes for now, Honorable Chair, my priorities will remain those bills which have actually remained for far too long here to be fast-tracked, and I will be actually working. I'm very much ready to submit myself to the Assembly to be working with it in the approval of these bills. We have, I think the bills have actually, when we were approving, when we were having the stakeholder engagement, representatives from this honorable house have actually joined us in Mombasa, thanks to UNICEF, in trying to understand these two bills and what they actually entail. So my priority for now will be those two, because they will really go very far into helping us in service delivery. As for the question of Honorable Ado, there's one thing that he has not also declared. I was one time he's a coach and mentor in mathematics, because he was a class or two behind me in school. And that's probably why he brought in the issue of interest. The issue of the rampant strikes. Again, this is one area that, before we even go to the strikes, we really need to coach and mentor our health personnel. I sat with the union myself, and at one time I told them that you do not even know yourselves how you should represent your people. I will take a very good example. There was one time that they went on strike. Why? Because there was salary delay. They had the right to go for the strike. But then this was supposed to be picketing but not strike, because strike is an industrial action. It's not something that you wake up to one day. It is something that, as to how it is done, when it is done, by who it is done, is very much guided in the different legislations that we have in this country. So, and particularly for the health workers to come, wake up, and all of them go on strike is not provided for anywhere in the law. Because there's a way that, because they are a very critical service sector, and how they go about their strike is different from how other sectors are supposed to be doing their strikes. But then, leave even that aside, the very fact that they could just wake up without some of things that I was actually coaching on them. And before the union was changed, and before I left, I actually have, and they can bear witness to that, we would expect them to be triggered by the other factors that we know. But when you are triggered by factors that are very much within the public domain, and then claim things that can actually be proved to the contrary, that will say a lot. But as I was saying, it's the fact that I'm not blaming them, it's the fact that we have been slow in building their capacity and giving them the right capacity to deliver services, to show leadership, to manage their affairs, and even to go capacity to deliver services, to show leadership, to manage their affairs, and even to go about how to demand for their rights. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Omar, I can see that the member has really eaten into most of the questions actually ahead of, because they are interlinked. So there's no way, probably one question, you can stop at a certain point. That's why I gave him a lot of time to probably to give him that flow to address some of the questions that were coming up. That is, so if I don't subject the members to some of the questions, you will bear with me. Honorable Omar, address that question.
Thank you, Chair. I have to congratulate Ahmed Nadir, giving him the other chance to be nominated. Having said that, I think the governor has shown you a trust whereby you can fit to that portfolio. My question is, the ambulance services have been?
Please.
So I start my question or a congratulations, Mr. Ahmed Nadir. I think the governor has that trust on you, giving you the chance again. My question is, ambulance services have been a problem to the county where the patients are all focused to pay fuel and drive allowances. How are you going to address the concern since this matter relates to still the resource? Thank you.
Okay, I think so far that is the last question. We'll proceed. Do you have a follow-up question? Follow-up question to which question? That's the question. Yes. Come again. Thank you. Okay, can you ask those two questions at a go?
Thank you very much, the chair, and thank you, nominee. He comes from my ward as well, but that one doesn't give me to be conflict of interest. He's a family friend as well. The best bill that can come to the health department is the facility improvement fund. But nonetheless, the PGH has been operating without a board, even during your tenure. And I think there was a recommendation from this assembly. They did a benchmarking in Nakuru. And one of the recommendations that came also to your docket was the setting up of a Garissa County Referral Hospital Board of Management. We need flexibility that the health management team and the board to manage that funds without having bureaucracy to engage the finance team. Because I think the health department also has finances. I think how soon as the CEC will you appoint a board of management to manage Garissa Referral Hospital? The second question, I think there are so many questions asked about referral hospital, evacuation and everything. 60 years after independence and 10 years after devolution, we only have Garissa PGH Hospital offering radiology in terms of ultrasound services and CT scan. An ultrasound machine in the market costs 2 million shilling. Why don't we have an ultrasound machine operational and functional in Masalani, Dadaab, Balambala, Burra, and Modogashe? Instead of getting a patient just who requires just an ultrasound machine in Garissa, coming all the way from Hulugo with all those costs involved. You can't have somebody with a ligament fracture coming all the way from Burra or Balambala just to do an X-ray in Garissa. Why don't we have an X-ray machine that costs less than even $1 million set up in Balambala? We got a petition from a UHC staff, Universal Healthcare staff. They are 182. I think he's the one who set up during his tenure. Their contract is coming to an end in the next 3-4 months. Some of them are single-handedly managing health dispensaries in the rural areas. What is your plan to either retain these staff, or what would you see? Because some of them are managing critical sectors like ICU, renal unit, radiology. Thank you.
Thank you. You can answer those.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for once again giving me an opportunity to respond to those questions. Thank you very much, the honorable members who have asked me the questions, and for your congratulatory messages. Honorable Omar and Honorable Hassan, who, as he said, actually is my MCA, actually, from my ward, from the ward I come from, rather. Honorable Omar, this question is in reference to Honorable Chair about the ambulance and the referral services. I wish to state here clearly, and facts are there on the ground, that while I was serving as the CEC, or rather the County Executive Committee member for Health and Sanitation Services, there was no single person who was ever asked a single dime, a single cent, or a single shilling for referral. And that is very much in the records. And that is something that can be, verified, Honorable Chair. Whatever that we did then is whatever that we will still be doing. And it has to be understood. It has to be, actually, I wish I had the figures here, but I know that how busy that the referral system was. But just to add on to that, we had also improved on how the referral that was done so that it meets how it's the norms that have been set. Because the referral is not just an ambulance service that is required by a citizen or a Manaish. It is supposed to be regulated, monitored, and operated in such a way that it is the medics right from the community level to the dispensary to the health center who at any one given time sound the alarm or rather confirm that the person actually needs a referral service. And that is how actually it has been done, such that when it comes to the Garissa County Referral Hospital, we have put in place measures where if a consultant does not refer the patient to Nairobi, the story will simply end there. Why? Because there is no way I would want to refer a patient to Nairobi when I have a consultant in Garissa. And by then, we had 18 consultants. Right now, I think the consultants, because we have sent so many of them for training, are actually at 36. So when you take to Kenyatta or rather Kenyatta University, the first question that comes is that, oh, this is an obs-gyne patient, or this is a pediatric patient, or this is a, urology patient. Why are you referring here for consultant services while you have a consultant services there? So we put this place in place, and it was actually working so smoothly in such a way that even for the senior members of the community who would want extra influence, never used to get extra favors. It was working smoothly. And Honorable Chair, if you give me one more minute, please, I really want to talk about this at length. Because as I was telling you earlier on, is that this department is a department that is depicted negatively. Sometimes, just to, for political reasons, or as people arguing for their rights, or rather even get political scores. But then it ends up, whatever that is said about the department ends up, demoralizing the staff who are there. So that's why I would really want to stress on this particular. So we streamlined it in such a way that it was working so smoothly. That there is one case that I actually remember at the peak of the services that we are offering there. A mother who bled, what they call the postpartum bleeding, in Masalani. And thanks to the referral services that we had there and the kind of guidelines that we have put in place there, the medical officer, that's one life of a mother, the medical officer of the mother, because whenever there's an issue in Masalani that can be handled in Hola, because we also take care of the patients from Tana River and from Kitui. We also have, had arrangements with them. The whole health team swung into action. Something that I would really want to share with you, the kind of conversations that we had. I do not want to take you through because of time, how that mother's life was saved. But the mother, after some hours, went to Hola with our even medical officer here, up to the Garissa County Referral Hospital, and the following day went into ICU, and the following day reported that her life was saved. That is, how the referral service was working there. Now, the second question about the Facility Improvement Fund and about the board of Garissa County Referral Hospital, these are things that are very much interrelated. We honestly, rather, as a team, health team, did our best. And unless we get that Facility Improvement Fund, the issue of forming a board and subjecting to some circumstances where they do not get their resources, do not have access to the resources that they need to work, freely, does not make any sense at all. It will actually just simply have added to the problems and the challenges that we are having then, and even blotted the meager resources that we had. And that's why we want the facility. There was no renal department, neither was there an ICU department. Well, the facilities and the infrastructure was supplied by MESA, by the national government, but when we were going into office, there was none. It was started operating and became fully operationalized under our watch. If we could operationalize that and have saved lives, and I remember that by the time I was actually leaving health at the renal department alone, we were having like 30 to 40 patients being attended to a month, and the ICU had actually saved life. And if you look at the norms of the WHO, the mortality rate of the ICU was far below that. I mean, I'm very sure if you trust me with this position and give me the confidence and, of that benefit of doubt that particularly there could have been, challenges and failures here and there, I'm very sure Garissa's health will shine and people will be satisfied with Allah Karim. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
The chair.
Honorable Chair, first of all, it's not about having these machines there. There is more that goes into these machines. There are two issues that we need to consider. One of the issues that we need to consider is the HRH. And for these specialized services, there have been actually challenges. That is number one. Number two, other than that HRH, is that the fact that we need to upgrade some of our hospitals to come to the right level where we need to put, the HRH and also the infrastructure. You cannot put a human resource into areas where, for example, you cannot take a radiologist to a dispensary. Yeah. For example, I think there are 2 dispensaries in your ward. There are 2 dispensaries in the Honorable, sorry, Chair, there are 2 dispensaries in the Honorable Dahir's ward in Baraki. And for a dispensary now, it's supposed to be served by a health center. How many health centers do we have? How many have been upgraded? So this is what we need to work on, so that we have these diagnostic services at the health centers. And the health centers are within close proximity as per the norms and the kilometer per ratio by, accessibility that is provided by WHO and even by Kenya's health. So this is something, health policy. So this is something that we are very much aware to. But just to correct one thing, in Masalani, we have fully diagnosis services that was supported under the MES. And also, I think, that so is the DAB, although it had an issue with the X-ray services, because the building that was constructed between that period of 2013 and 2017 did not meet the standards that an X-ray room is supposed to meet. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and sorry for taking a lot of time in answering the questions.
This is becoming too interactive, and I think it's also time intensive. But that is, I forgive that for given the nature of the docket. And therefore, I will allow 3 more questions, follow-up questions. One from Honorable Abdurrahman, Honorable Mustafa, and the Majority Leader, Honorable Mohammed Khalif. In that order, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Congratulations, Ahmed Nadir, for your nominations. 2 quick questions. One, there are almost 60 county health management committees who are idle, whereby 3 to 4 staffs share the same positions. What is your plan to redeploy these staffs to health facilities in order to improve service delivery and cap human resource shortage at the rural facility? That's one. Number 2, to add on the same, for instance, Sanguri Health Center, where I was elected, there is only one nurse who is covering the entire facility, whereby, according to the HR norms, the health center should have at least 14 nurses. And in this case, I'm talking about just one nurse being at the Sanguri Health Center. Now that you have been nominated, and hopefully we'll see the rest, what is your take? Because I see there are many staffs idle at the headquarters, and at the functions, maybe for Sankuri Health Center, the way I said, there's only one. So what will you do? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
You can take the next question, Honorable Mustafa.
Thank you, Chair. Ahmed, I've got 2 questions. The first one is, Iftin Sub-County Hospital is the only sub-county hospital within Garissa town, which will decongest the PGH or the county referral hospital if the issues it is facing is addressed, the infrastructural and staffing issues that it is facing. What plans do you have for this hospital, given the fact that you've been there before? Because I know you know Iftin Hospital very well. Because as we speak now, referrals from Iftin Hospital go to PGH. I think that is not ideal. That is my number one question. Number two question is about internships. We've got students coming for interns within the educational circle and after to gain experience, but they end up unpaid. So what happens is they stay there, some of them couple of years, and then run away. So how do you want to deal with this as well? Thank you.
Thank you, and I think next time the members asking questions should not skew it to your ward. The question should be, yes, because we are not here in our capacities as the ward representatives. Therefore, whatever question you may be answering should be able to be broad-based, and the answers you give and the commitments you make should be for the county.
Honorable Abdurrahman, that's actually a pain in the neck. The fact that we have 60 county health management team, they're not supposed to be there. The number is not supposed to be like that. I do not want to go into details now because that will actually derail a few of the measures that we may want to put in place. We work in a highly political environment, but rest assured, this is what will be attended to. But having said that, the health committee, the county health management team and the entire personnel know that I was a serious advocate for having a reduced number at the management team because honestly, I chaired the CHMT. How would I chair 60 people who are all managers? And what are we going to talk about? 60 people. What policies are we going to come up with? Does not make any sense. To set the record clear, when I was joining, the county health management team was only 23 members. It is sad that it is 60. I would not want to add further into that, but rest assured that the leadership and the services that they do will be efficient and they will streamline, Honorable Chair. Secondly, about either Sankuri Health Center or generally in the county, what we are having actually a problem is that we have less personnel all over the county in all the dispensaries and the health centers in Garissa. And honestly, the biggest problem that is coming here, I'm sorry to say this, but I have to mention, is contributed to by the elected leadership, starting with this house. How? For example, today I would get, we may employ, let's say a nurse who comes from Sankuri. That nurse does not want to work in Sankuri. But nonetheless, we post them there because they are public officers. The elected MCA would come to my office, go to the governor, even mobilize the MPs and all that and say, you know, my seat is at stake, blah, blah, blah. This, particular personnel. And there's always one excuse, is taking care of his or her old grandmother who is here. Eventually, even if you do not at your level, there are always the powers that are there. And your powers are always limited. And even if you deny the transfer and all that, you realize that they are transferred here. Having said that, at the Garissa County Referral Hospital, at Iftin, at Medina, and all the dispensaries within Garissa Central, they are overcrowded. It is sad to have that kind of imbalance, and we need to have serious distribution. Why am I saying this? If you approve me and feel that I'm fit to serve in this position, Honorable Chair, I really want to plead with you that come with excuses on how to deal with your electorate, but please do not ask the health department for transfers, because if our own people do not want to serve their own people, who would want to serve? It is sad that right now what is happening is that the entire, divisions and the locations and the villages are served by people who do not actually, the non-Somalis actually. I do not want to call them the non-locals, but the non-Somalis are the ones who are serving. And then when there is a security scare, and this is something that I don't actually say in public, sometimes back what happened is that we are told, why are you even risking their lives that, there are security issues, particularly in the border areas where they had actually escaped from. So they are actually holding us culpable because, they are trying to say that we are putting their lives at risk because, they are the ones who have been targeted and they are the ones who are actually posted there. So honestly, let's address that as that. Honorable Mustafa's question generally goes in line with the same. We need to decongest Garissa County Referral Hospital. And having said that, health has a pyramid system of working in such a way that the highest population of people are supposed to be at the lowest level and dealt with at the community level. And that is why in Garissa, we came up with the primary health care initiative. it's something that I take pride with, together with my team, and thanks to my leadership and the friendly, cordial relationship that I formed with the partners and the trust that I got from them, Garissa was chosen as the pilot county for primary health care, under sponsorship from from UNICEF, and with blessings from the Minister of Health. That is actually helping us to be in the first line, or rather online to implement UHC. And once we get that UHC right, UHC is not about finances. It's about attending to the people, giving them the equity that they need, the accessibility that they need, and all these things. So coming back to the issue of pyramid, the pyramid that we are talking about here is that at the community unit level, a lot of people are supposed to be attended to, such that they do not need to have the need to go to the hospital. And then the dispensary will have lesser population than at the community level, then the health center, such that by the time people are coming to Garissa County Referral Hospital, there will be less people who need specialized needs. But otherwise, if we make the mistake of concentrating on the Garissa County Referral Hospital, our health system will collapse, and this is not something we are looking at. Having said that, we want to have Medina and Medina also upgraded to a sub-county hospital, 15 operations built at optimum, and have a few dispensaries within Garissa town. There are a lot of them upgraded to health centers, such that we decongest. So this is the kind of plans that we are looking at, and it is very much within the norms and the policies that have been set. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last question, Honorable Khalif.
Yes, Honorable Chair, allow me to congratulate the nominee for being CCM for health. And I'd like to do a small clarification about facility improvement bill, which was brought before this house after consulting the table clerk and my brother who was there the last 5 years. The bill has expired, but with his guidance and support, if approved, we will reintroduce that bill, Honorable Chair. Mine is just a small recap, complimentary remarks, and one sentence question as per se. Honorable Chair, the nominee has in his testimony told us that during his tenure as a health CCM, he has done a lot of commendable job. Later on, he was reshuffled to another department. Was the problem coming from the head of executive, or it was mainly more deteriorated the health sector, which today is on its deathbed? And let me come to my question, which is that which system, which policy are you formulating, and if get approved, to introduce health waiver system? Therefore, most of the times, needy patients find it difficult to get cleared from the hospital. And another issue that it was raised.
Khalif, I thought it was one question.
No, it's one sentence question.
Please,
it will have a replica of the same answer. And Honorable Chair, we find out that some health workers are too personal, are too profit oriented, where on the private hospitals rather than give priority to the where they are working, and like Garissa General Hospital staffs. Most of the doctors there most of the doctors there spend more of their time in their own private facility. What policy are you implementing? I'm getting to know that after 5, the doctors are getting special calls. Maybe the patient special attention from the doctor. And what policy are you putting in place to curb and professional, I think we can call them professional frauds, because they are more of money-based mentality than community service. And another question that goes in line is that some health professional workers are sometimes harsh on patients. I wish my brother Honorable Mohammed Abdi Farah will have been here, and we encountered the same. Just 2 days, there was a patient who needed to be attended to, and he was to be admitted to the ICU. The nurse and the doctor and the covering nurse, or the covering CEO told them that it is late, we cannot admit this patient. His situation barely is admittable to the ICU. And few minutes later, the patient passed on. And we were there as elected leaders. So what are the modalities, what policies will you implement? Scenarios. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Khalif, I think for that long but very relevant, pertinent question or questions, I think if I just jump the gun, the issue of, I think, transferring one from one docket to the other is the prerogative of the executive, and therefore does not have anything to do with, but I will leave it to the horse mouth to tell us. But I think that was what I think. Go ahead, please.
Honorable Khalif, once again, congratulations for being elected, and also for being elected as the majority leader by this honorable house. Thank you for your questions. On the issue of my transfer from one department to the other, no department is lesser to another department, and we do not question when some of these decisions come. The Constitution neither does not say anything about it, that in case this happens, you know, this is supposed to happen, or transfer or anything. So, I mean, it's one question that is actually, I do not know how to actually tackle. But having said that, thank you very much for assuring me on the facility improvement bill, and I'm very sure that there is an able committee in place that we shall we communicate with on how to move forward on it going forward, and also rely on the advice of the House. On the issue of the waiver, we do have a sessional committee, particularly the Garissa County Referral Hospital. I don't know whether it is there in place, but I know we used to have it in place. And Honorable Chair, unfortunately in Garissa what normally happens is that, and this is one culture that I really used to fight, and a lot of actually honorable members who served them, or who even are serving now, the few who came back, having a headache with them, because you know what happens is that waiver is sought by those people who know us, those people who you know that are able. And at one time actually, someone called me and asked for a waiver. And I knew the income of the person. He was asking for a waiver for a poor person for about 3,000. And I actually paid and told him it has been waived. Why am I saying this? That we need to have some kind of a fair and justice system in place, such that this waiver system is supposed to benefit those people who are deserving and are poor. We do not want that culture where even, you know, like we have in Kenya, where, for example, the bursary is given to the rich kids, and the poor kids, because they do not know anyone, I mean, they do not benefit. But anyway, there is a social committee. It may not have been very much well structured. It may not be working efficiently because of pressures that are there, and you know, the norms that are always very much interfered with. But these are things that will actually, I think, is also covered very well in the facility and improvement fund, if I'm not wrong. On the issue of that attitude by the health workers, first of all, let us also sometimes be very kind to them, and because the fact that sometimes they are overwhelmed, and will have serious communication issues on our side also will be a challenge. But having said that, as I said before, our public service personnel need serious training and retraining and capacity development, and we cannot blame them on their customer care deficiencies when we very much know that we have not invested in their development. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much, Bwana Ahmed Nadir. I think we have come to the end of it, this very, very engaging exercise. Just wanted to give you maybe my remarks in terms of advice. It has been mentioned that just like many of the other essential services, the maternity facility is really on its deathbed across the county, and we find mothers dying while being ferried to either the neighboring counties like Tana River or others coming to Garissa. With the breakdown of the ambulance services that was mentioned, that actually makes the matter worse. Therefore, I think if you are appointed, please take it upon yourself to ensure that there are targeted, deliberate strategies and plans to ensure that this very critical department is operationalized right to the grassroots. And then the issue of waiver mentioned here, I think any policy or any tool is as good as the user. And therefore, once you have the right personnel, you might have the guidelines, but if you have not trained them, if you have not, as you rightly said, the customer care issue, the customer service issue. So I think the two of us have been in the previous government. And the ailments, the shortcomings that are mentioned here, we all know. It all boils down to staff who are either not trained, properly not supervised, lack of coordination. And therefore, if you really get your staffing right, if you get your personnel right by engaging the relevant other departments, therefore, you need to have, departments need to speak to each other. No department can operate in silo. And therefore, this is other one problem probably you need to address, that health department alone cannot, because they are probably under the public service board to employ all that stuff. So you need to get this synergy right, so that for things to flow seamlessly right. So on that note, we bring, and also getting, of course, the competent personnel, properly trained and retrained. Training the evolving issues. Health is a docket that requires people to be kept abreast to emerging issues. Said all that and done, I would like to take this opportunity to once again to congratulate you and wish you well if you are appointed. This is one of the most demanding docket, I may say, with all the problems that were mentioned, the challenges that were mentioned. Therefore, I would like to give you this opportunity to maybe say your closing remarks, ask a question before we let you go.
Chair, I think I'm audible enough. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for that priceless piece of advice. A mother should rather bring life to this world, but her life will not end. And we'll work on that. Thank you.
Ensure that you have your papers back, your originals are back, up to and including the ID card. So as he prepares to, yes, so please, Sergeant at Arms, escort Honorable Member, nominee, out of the house safely. Wish you well. We are going for prayers and lunch. We are left with one more nominee. And the earlier we come, 2:30, we come back. 2:30.